Never think that war, no matter how necessary, nor how justified, is not a crime. Wow, that quote is pretty fucking stupid, I'm not gonna lie. But without it, I never would have found this website, Elevate Society. Let's read what this website has to say about this quote by Ernest Hemingway, which I looked it up, and I do think that is a real Ernest Hemingway quote. This powerful and thought-provoking quote, often attributed to American author Ernest Hemingway, offers a sobering perspective on the nature of war and its moral implications. It challenges the notion that war can ever be divorced from the idea of criminality, even when it is deemed necessary or justified. The quote begins with the assertion, "Never think that war," emphasizing the universality of its message. It implies that regardless of the specific circumstances or reasons behind a conflict, war itself carries inherent moral complexities. The statement, "no matter how necessary nor how justified," acknowledges that there are instances in history when nations and leaders have argued that war was necessary for self-defense or to address perceived injustices. However, the quote suggests that even in these situations, the act of waging war cannot be entirely free from moral scrutiny. The phrase "is not a crime" is a stark declaration that war, in and of itself, constitutes a grave moral transgression. It challenges the... Wait, they already said this like twice. Is this entire description AI generated? Yes, it definitely is. You're probably wondering what sort of visionary genius could prompt such a masterpiece description. Well, his name is Tal Gur, and he runs this website, Elevated Society, which is so much more than just a quote website. It's also a scam website. This website is so desperate to email you that pretty much no matter what you click on, it takes you to something prompting you to give it your email. But first things first, before we explore the rest of the website, we have to find out who this Tal Gur even is. I searched his name on Google and it brought up his Instagram, and this was the first thing I saw as soon as I clicked on it. A chiropractor broke his spine in a cycling accident. Doctors said he would never walk again without spinal fusion. Instead, he rebuilt his spine in his mind every day. 9 weeks later, he walked out of that hospital. Today, he teaches millions how to rewrite their story with the blueprint of their future self. I think that gives us a pretty good idea of who we're dealing with. There's a bit on this website that says, as seen in Forbes, the Huffington Post, and Amazon. And while the Huffington Post link and the Amazon link are both real, the Forbes link just takes you to his About Me section. And Forbes doesn't appear on there at all. Speaking of the HuffPost article, it's called Habits and Routines of Entrepreneur and Traveler Tal Gur, and we can learn a little bit more about him from this article. Tal Gur is a multidisciplinary serial entrepreneur, coach, traveler, and financial freedom enthusiast. He has over 15 years of experience founding and running internet startups, creating courses, and developing software. Pretty much all the same generic entrepreneur stuff that you hear all these scam guys say. I have 4 million plus years of running vague businesses that don't really do anything, and now you should buy my book. Okay, well, let's check out the About Me section from earlier. There's not really that much here. They get a nice headshot of him. He kind of looks like David Cross mixed with a roast ham. But for the most part, it's just generic self-help garbage. Like this part where it says, at its core, Elevate Society exists to support conscious individuals in rising into their full potential. That is literally less than nothing. That could not mean less if you tried. You're in the right place if you're called to elevate your true potential. Design a life aligned with your essence. Live with deeper intention and meaning. Realize bold, heart-driven goals. Become financially abundant and spiritually fulfilled. Make a conscious impact on society and the world. I will give anyone $40 if they can tell me what a single one of those bullet points means. One of the funniest bits on this About Me section, though, is a glimpse into the paths I've walked, which includes all of the most, generic millennial, adventure ideas. Going on a year-long surfing adventure, participating in a 10-day Vipassana meditation and exploring spirituality in India, helping build a small school in a remote Dominican Republic village, fundraising and helping build a new home for a Peruvian family who had lost everything, volunteering for several months at an autism treatment center, stealing money from the mob to give it to a children's hospital that's going out of business. Wait, no, then that's the plot of the Steven Seagal movie, Today You Die. I'm sorry. Okay, so now we know who this guy is, but what's so special about his website? What does it do other than beg you for your email? Well, like all these self-help websites that try to sell you something, of course, there's a quiz. How much do you want to bet that there's gonna ask me for my email at the end of the quiz? For some reason, all of the answers start at no. Most of the questions are just stuff that pretty much no one would ever answer yes to. Like, when I wake up, I feel 100% rested and energized. That's not how waking up is. I have enough life savings to live worry-free if a crisis strikes. What kind of crisis? Like a time crisis? There's also a lot of them that just don't make any sense or don't mean anything. I'm part of a tribe of like-minded individuals. Well, I'm not part of a tribe. I'm more of a guild guy. I know I'm on my path. That doesn't mean anything. What do you mean your path? What is that? I guess I sound like someone who's not on their path. I know who I am at my core. Well, I'm hardly gonna know somebody else at my core. I invest in courses from time to time. No, I do my best not to get scammed. And you need to put in your email to get your results. Who would have guessed? Alright, well, what else is there to do on this website other than the quiz? Well, there's a whole section of quotes that you can look at just to get inspired, I guess. And I can assure you that they are the same level of quality as everything else on this website. Emotions don't need fixing. Just space to flow. What does that mean, though? Being is not the opposite of doing. It's the foundation of it. Quick question, though. What does that mean? You don't transform by trying harder. You transform by immersing deeper. I'm beginning to notice a pattern here. But this guy, he doesn't just put his own quotes, okay? He's not that self-centered. He also puts up quotes that inspired him on his journey to, whatever he is. Love doesn't keep a score of wrongs. Love doesn't bring up past failures. Love doesn't have a nose ring, and it doesn't steal your wallet. Love is the most important word in the English language, and the most confusing. I think, the is probably the most important word in the English language. It'd be probably pretty tough to have English without it. Also, don't even get me started on confusing words. I made a whole video about that. Love and work are to people what water and sunshine are to plants. That's like the most generic, feel-good shit I've ever heard in my life. Oh, and what do you know? It wants my email. Sorry if this video is a little bit disjointed. Navigating this website is damn near impossible, but I felt like with all the negativity that I've exuded today, I should end on probably the most inspiring quote on the website. Who is Alexander Fleming? By Tal E. Gur.